What is up, foodies? It is 3 o'clock. You know what happens on a Wednesday. It's time for Foodies and Friends. I'm Ruben and Katie. This is Katie Stone, and a very special episode today, Katie.
It is, you guys. We're out at Hope Farms today, and it's a really special night. Tonight they're having the opening grand party ribbon cutting of the brand new constructed Peg Lee Culinary Classroom, and we're getting the very, very first
VIP.
Nobody has seen this
Sneak
before.
peek.
We are the only humans that have been in here thus far.
Other than contractors.
Yes, no, they don't count. Yeah.
And the boss.
Gracie Cavnar joins us along with Greg Martin from Bistro Menil. We've got a lot in store for you guys today, but thank you guys for joining us today and letting us come out.
Really excited to be here. Yeah.
We love it.
So this is the Peg Lee Culinary Classroom kitchen. It's more of like a teaching kitchen as well,
It's a
Gracie,
culinary
right?
classroom,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
In other words, we give cooking classes here,
Yep.
which is at the core of what Recipe for Success is. When we started out 17 years ago teaching children how to cook.
In the
And
classroom.
We're still doing that. We started in the school classrooms, but now we've got this fabulous space.
And we're doing it here at the farm,
That's
which is
right.
only about 8 miles from downtown Houston. And people would never know when you're here. It's so beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah. It's such an awesome place.
So, Gracie, from the start, I mean, from the time that you came up with the idea and you said, we're going to do this, this space, we're going to transform it to where we are now, about to open it to the public. How long did that take?
So we broke ground on Hope Farms 6 years ago. And I had a master plan. I knew I was going to do a culinary classroom, but I would raise money and we would do stuff. I would raise money and we would do stuff. So we built the infrastructure of the barn. And in fact, we had this space defined as a culinary classroom, but really it was just, like studs and still had a dirt floor. And in fact, we did a cooking class in here.
Sure.
On that dirt floor with the folding
Absolutely,
tables,
yeah.
like in the spirit of knowing that someday it was going to be, we call it glamping, our glamping culinary classes. But now it's the
very
real
trendy.
deal, right?
We've done quite a few fundraiser dinner parties out here using this space as a kitchen, rough-end kitchen.
Right.
To a lot of effect. But everything really took off once we had the barn and the space, and the events became much more fun and real.
So the design's been in place since the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Now is
it's
the
just a
time
little
that
$100,000.
You're putting it into play.
Yeah, it's a little
yeah.
$100,000 installation. So that little thing about raising the money first,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
That's what I did.
It's just
So-
pocket change.
Yeah.
So Greg is going to actually kind of get busy making one of the dishes. We're going to show you guys the recipe. He's creating an artichoke dip, and
Yes.
Ruben is going to help him a little bit later in the show. And I want to talk a little bit about Peg Lee.
Yeah.
And who she was. She was a great force here in the culinary scene here in Houston. But tell everybody, who she is and why you all decided to. I know she's got a personal connection to both of you, and I know my mom knew her as well, right?
Exactly.
So share with our viewers exactly who she was.
So
who she is.
Peg really is I think of Peg as one of my mentors, maybe my biggest deal mentor.
The most important.
Right, the most important one. She's such an inspiration to me. I'd known her for years, and her daughter and I are friends, but when I decided that, and I'd taken cooking classes and had lots of fun, schmoozing around with Julia Child and all kinds of things because of Peg. When I decided that I thought I had this idea about Recipe for Success, I went to her and I said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Not only yes, but hell yes."
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
so let's do it. And I'm going to help you. I like, you go do that. I'll be back here helping you. No, she really did open doors for me, bring funding to the table, help me get more chefs involved that I didn't know. And really, Recipe for Success is a perfect statement of Peg's
her mission almost, right?
Well, I mean, it really is like the way she thinks. I mean, she feels like home cooked meals, eating as a family around the table is super important. That food doesn't have to be fancy. Just, whoop it up and eat it together is the most important thing. Real food, and also the concept of teaching children from the youngest age to cook, and that helps them make good eating decisions. So really, we are walking her talk, right? Basically.
Exactly.
And so all along the way, as we developed and we had the game plan from the beginning, but as we were able to implement iterations of it and grow into our full vision, she's been there.
Mhm.
And, I'd like to say that we are almost at full vision.
Yes,
Right? From
very
when
close.
like 18 years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do the other thing. Right. And so this
We've
is
got
sort
some
of
pho-
like
we've
the
got
other
some-
thing.
We've
Right?
got some photos of her up right now.
Yes.
As we were.
Oh,
as we were
Yeah.
talking,
Oh, there's you and Peg.
Some
Yeah.
great shots.
Yeah.
Well, and I think she actually taught you how to cook.
Something like
Kinda.
that. I was the butcher at Cafe Annie, and she was down the street on Fountain View at Rice Epicurean, and I couldn't afford the classes, so I said, Peg, can I do something? She said, you can wash dishes. And then I ended up being the guy that could actually cook. And so when the chefs came in to do the classes, they found there was a guy that could cook. I'm helping do the class. It was great. It was the greatest thing. And then the relationship developed, and a lot of the classes required ingredients that were difficult to get on a retail level that we got at the restaurant. Not a problem. So the relationship and the friendship grew and grew. Got to meet her family, so it got even more a deeper.
What year
friendship.
was that for the cooking school?
Wow. So she was at Rice Epicurean in the early 80s to
She
the end of the
founded
80s.
the cooking school.
Correct.
Rice
She did.
Epicurean.
She founded the Rice
Yeah.
cooking school
Yeah.
first, Rice Epicurean cooking
That's
school.
huge.
She started that. Before that, she was at Marshall Fields doing cooking classes in the houseware.
Wow. Marshall Fields.
So so
Haven't heard that
Takes
name in
you
a
back.
while.
Takes you
Oh
back.
man.
yes, right. So like
90s, huh?
Yeah.
at the very beginning, but that was back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Right. So so she's been doing that, even though she had a big family. They had a very full social life. She was of a generation where mamas like her didn't work.
Mm.
So she was unique in her
Ability to do both and juggle.
That's it, to
Yeah.
juggle and just put herself out there and just start things and roll her sleeves up. And I feel like she's inspired me in so many ways. She's never like too frou-frou to do something herself, right? Roll up her sleeves, get in the car, go pick people up at the airport, wash dishes, whatever it took to make things happen the way it should, not just be a pointer,
Mhm.
right? I'm sort of that way too.
Yes.
Not a pointer.
But she was doing this in the era before superstar chefs,
Right.
when American men and women wanted to learn how to cook. And so having a culinary program within a grocery store was a unique and ideal
Sure.
situation. So then when she left Rice, when they opened Central Market in Houston, because they recruited her away, and so then she had a much bigger audience. And then downstairs, of course, were those ingredients that were hard to get, that were interesting. So it was a real retail kind of operation.
Mm-hmm.
And young men and women that wanted to go into the culinary programs in Houston would go take classes and get inspiration and then get jobs in kitchens.
But it was a little bit of a cult thing too, because she was so far ahead of her time in that she brought real chefs to town to teach classes to just regular people,
Yeah.
right? Which is not a thing then. It's a thing now, but it was not a thing then.
Mhm.
So if somebody was just published a big cookbook or whatever, she'd make sure and get them
Yes,
to town.
everybody came to town for Peg.
Everybody came to town.
All the publishers knew her, had her on speed dial,
Yeah,
and you hit that cooking school in Texas for sure.
exactly.
So in Texas, you would do Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, because that's where all the central markets were.
Yeah.
So there was a whole circuit to it. It was awesome.
It was a thing.
That's where I met Emeril Lagasse signing his book.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
Rice Audience.
Exactly. It's where I met Julia Child.
Mhm.
That's
really
pretty
quick. I mean,
Yeah.
which was
That's pretty
to
cool.
me. I mean, that was like, Mecca.
I remember working with Jacques
Jacques.
Pepin and realizing he had the most beautiful hands you've ever seen of a chef. Just these beautiful white porcelain hands. And he was so nimble with them.
And I still love to watch his podcast. Do you
Yes,
listen? Yeah,
yes.
right. He's so talented, but they were very close friends. So,
I'm going to get a roasting pan real quick.
Yeah, get a
Yeah.
roasting pan.
Yeah.
Let's
get
get some food going.
So Greg is gonna make some of his wonderful artichoke dip. There's a recipe that we'll throw up there on the screen for you guys, and I think I just want to applaud you, Gracie, for this beautiful kitchen and for what you've done. And I think it's so important, Ruben and I were talking about this in the car on the way over to really remember and cherish, even though Peg is still, she's still kicking, but it's so important.
People that laid the groundwork.
Yeah, who really paved the way for so many of the professionals within the hospitality industry today, and to remember them and honor them and make sure that people know the hard work that they, did pioneering everything. And it's wonderful that on Foodies and Friends on Fox 26, we get to highlight some of these. It's
kind of what we do. Do a lot of highlighting.
It's fabulous what y'all do.
We do a lot of highlighting.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is essentially continue Peg's work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a place where we will honor her every day that we teach a child how to cook.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Or a family how to cook. It'll be in tribute to her, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she's very proud.
We'll keep going, and she's coming tonight. I couldn't be more excited.
Aww.
But I do have to put some flowers out, some things.
Yes,
so
we're gonna
go do what you gotta do.
switch places.
I'm gonna switch places.
And you guys want to get into food.
Ruben wants to start
Right.
making a mess in the kitchen because he's good. Thank you,
Thanks for
Gracie.
coming.
Thank you. Gracie's gonna go and get ready for the party tonight. Ruben is gonna switch places.
Yes, this was a last minute ad, but here I am.
But on that note about the kids, it's the most fulfilling, rewarding thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Is teaching these kids how to cook, really and truly. And the studies I've read is if you teach children how to cook, something like 10% of them get out of the socioeconomic bracket that
It's huge.
Oh yeah.
Which, if you think about it, that's a big plus.
Yeah.
If you can,
Huge.
teaching a kid how to cook means they're going to college. It's worth every
Totally.
minute.
It addresses nutrition, obesity issues,
yes.
all sorts of
Well,
things.
and gives
can
them
be avoided.
structure a little bit too.
Absolutely. They may discover a career.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
found
That
a
they
lot of
love.
the kids are latchkey.
Yeah.
And
So this is like,
instead of having a hot pocket,
this is incredible. They're like, oh, I can make that.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. What do you
speaking
guys
let's talk
gonna make?
our chef, our mise en place here. What do we have?
we're gonna make artichoke dip, and it sounds a little funny, but it's back in style.
It sounds delicious.
It's on the menu at Bistro Menil.
Okay.
I almost said Cafe Annie.
Shameless plug. If you haven't been to Bistro Menil, people, and if you watch this show, this needs to be on your list because man.
So the ingredients we're going to start with are the artichokes because they take the longest to cook.
Okay.
So the second thing we're going to do is poaching these shallots. So I've quartered the artichokes, seasoned them with olive oil, salt and pepper, put them in the oven on 400 degrees to start roasting. And when you're doing the artichokes, do more than the recipe asks for because the extra ones go in the fridge and they're great on salads, they're great with vegetables, and they're healthy. Because they've just been roasted.
Grab and go.
And so we're going to add the shallots here in a poaching liquid that's got balsamic vinegar, white vinegar, sugar, salt, and these poach for about 10 minutes. And once again, do extra because these go great in the fridge. They last about a month, and you can put them in all sorts of stuff: dressings, sauces, garnishing food, garnishing salads. They're wonderful. So we're going to start with that. And the other thing we're going to do real quick is we're going to microwave a few cloves of garlic and a little bit of water covered for about 15 seconds.
All right. See, I'm interested in this because I love garlic and I do not know this process at all.
And so I prefer garlic that's been steamed because it makes it a little softer and not that harsh bitterness.
Right.
Also, if you cook it, the food you put it into lasts longer in the fridge. So if you throw that in the microwave, all right, to your upper right there, and we'll get that going. So what we got is
Ruben, don't blow up the new kitchen.
I'm going to bring Carlos in.
Try not to.
Yeah.
How do we set this off? How do we make this work?
Carlos will take care of that. The magic of television, yes.
Well, put it in
And then Ruben, you are going to
zest a lemon.
Zest 2 lemons.
Okay.
So once again, we're going to talk about lemons. Don't ever make lemon juice without using the zest. Put it in everything that you're using it for the lemon juice.
Okay.
Because half the flavor is in the oil on the skin. So I'm going to cut a little bit off the top and the bottom here.
Okay.
And you're going to zest those 2 lemons.
Okay.
Well, I chop some.
I'm just going to make a little pile on the cutting
Yes,
board.
sir.
Okay.
And then we'll juice them. And I will dice some shallots. And once again, so this recipe is not going to call for that much shallot. But you can see how soft and pretty they are once they've been poached. And they're real pretty in salads and vegetable dishes. And So Katie, is
Yeah.
this your first time in the new kitchen?
So it is my first time in the kitchen. I've been to Hope Farms. You know, Ruben and I have done a few other episodes of Foodies and Friends live on Fox 26 here. But they've been outside.
I'm so happy we're indoors.
Yes.
In the AC, just say in the air conditioner.
Yeah, but I remember they were making this. Yeah, stay here, Carlos. Yeah, I remember you want to come on in. Come on in. We'll introduce Carlos. Yeah.
Which side you got, man?
Yeah, no, we'll come right here. Carlos is, introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are.
I'm Carlos Meltzer. I am the culinary director here at Hope Farms, a recipe for success.
And a lifesaver.
I've been working with the program since 2005 when it started. I took a hiatus for a little while, but I'm back now. It's been a really exciting 2 years, and having the kitchen in place is my dream. I've been cooking for the past 2 years in a lot of heat and humidity. So very, very exciting, but it's all about seed to plate nutrition education here. And I oversee our field trips. I oversee our cooking classes for adults as well as kids. Girl Scout
Field trips for adults?
Yes, we do
What?
field trips for adults too. Actually, once a semester, we like to invite teachers that are interested in doing our programming at their schools to the farm and do a training with them so they go through the experience of what it's like for the children to go from the garden to the kitchen classroom. Also, many of our field trips that happen with kids have adult chaperones, and I think they're just as excited as the kids to grow something or see something coming fresh off the vine and take it into the kitchen.
What a great experience. I mean, what a great idea. So you're really hands-on with all of that stuff. So people come to the farm, you're showing them around.
Exactly. And it's exciting. And then one of the best things about Recipe for Success is that we integrate math, science, reading, writing, geography, history, whatever it is, into the gardening program so that teachers are able to embrace the lessons and utilize them to reach the goals they need in the classroom. So very exciting. We hope to inspire a lot of teachers to do what we're doing out there and to continue to bring them to us to learn.
And how can viewers find out about the programs that you guys offer?
They can visit hopefarmshtx.org, which is our website. And there's our programs. There's also our adult cooking classes on there, which I do once a month, and also some cooking demos that are being done by celebrity chefs once a month here.
Nice.
So very exciting. We do those celebrity chef ones on first Wednesdays in the evening, where we have a big celebration with all kinds of vendors from the neighborhood and open up our storefront. And just a good time.
Yeah, very awesome. All right, let's check back in with Greg and Ruben. How are you guys doing?
Ruben's doing good.
Off camera, he told me I'm the worst sous he's ever had.
There is no off camera. Remember, it's a split screen.
Oh, that's right.
You've
Yeah,
been
here
on
it
the
is.
shot the entire time.
He was mumbling it just before.
Again.
I heard him say you get an A.
You're terrible at this. I'll be washing dishes tonight.
Exactly.
So fun cooking with new people. You get to kind of get a read on them and like gauge what
Is
their
that going to get us
skill
there, Chef?
level is
Perfect.
and how to
A+.
really help them
Thank you.
along to the next level of cooking.
Next, you are going to squeeze these lemons and make some lemon juice.
There we go.
Reach across you like that. So the recipe calls for mascarpone or mascarpone. Don't use cream cheese. Use mascarpone. Just add another $1 or two, and you won't regret it because it's real cheese. It doesn't have thickeners in it. It's just naturally like this. It uses rennet and real cheese making process. So I'm going to chop up this garlic real quick. And as soon as Ruben is done with that, we'll move over to the food processor.
I'm just making a mess here, Chef.
The mascarpone also
I'm
has a
working on it.
nice little tang to it that brings out just a whole
Beautiful.
lot of
You're doing
flavor
great.
profile in this dish.
Mhm.
There's definitely lemon and all kinds of strong flavors in there, but the mascarpone really makes it an ingredient that stands up to the rest of them rather than just kind of being washed out.
Yeah, cream cheese has a tendency to be,
It needs friends.
Cream cheese needs friends.
Yes, I think so.
Not according to my son. My son could eat an entire block of cream cheese and he'd be a happy camper.
I guarantee you, if you gave him a tub of mascarpone and a box of crackers, he'd eat the mascarpone. Just as
I hope
quickly.
so. I hope so.
I think we have lemon juice.
And so as far as the kids coming in these classrooms, I've just seen such success that when we're out at the classroom, the teachers have to use whistles. The kids get so excited
Wow.
and the sound level gets so high
Yeah.
that they have to whistle to get them to calm down. And if we were doing something like this, they would be vying and pushing each other away
Yeah.
to get in here and do just,
That's what you want.
huh?
That's
That's
what you want. I'm
And
excited.
It's crazy because people don't realize if you give them the opportunity, they want to do this. Their parents
Sure.
don't have time to
Sure.
sit down with them and teach them how to cook, but we can do that quickly and easily. So we've got the shallots pickled and chopped. We've got the basil chopped, the lemon zest, and the lemon juice. And are we ready to go ahead and start making?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have the show. We got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Let's do it.
So while you're doing that, Greg, I'm hoping you can. Oh, good. We've got the recipe up here for viewers to see what they're working on. Talk a little bit about, if you can, do both at the same time. I'm not sure, but whenever you can, some of the things that maybe you learned from Peg, that have kind of helped you along in your career, and what comes to mind, her impact on you as a chef.
Yes, as a young man, meeting these celebrity chefs, cookbook authors mostly, but a lot of them had restaurants, and hanging out with them and seeing what that was like wasn't intimidating. So that when we would have these celebrity chefs in at Cafe Annie, it was like somebody you knew, you understood what to do, you understood the drill, all of those things. It wasn't nerve-wracking, so to speak. But also, these cookbook authors are a little different because it's all about technique and it's all about method. Whereas chefs know all those things and they forget that Joe Blow doesn't understand the technique of, why would you pickle a shallot? Well, raw shallots are harsh when they're raw, but once you pickle them and you add them to food, they add a dimension to it that's better and finer than just a raw shallot. Same thing with steaming garlic, boiling it beforehand. It does the same thing. And little subtle things like using mascarpone, not cream cheese, those things. And so Peg exposed us to these great cookbook authors, and they would come to town, but also Peg did cooking classes as well. So we'd go in and it was all about technique. I will never forget Marcella Hazan teaching me how to peel an artichoke and complaining to me because I wasn't doing it right, because you had to snap the leaf off real hard and real fast. And I was getting my feelings were getting hurt. I kept telling you I wasn't doing it right. But things like that, really just techniques, ideas.
Attention to detail.
The attention to detail.
Yeah.
Cookbook authors have a tendency to do that, whereas chefs are a little more seat of the pants kind of thing.
You got to get a dinner service off.
Rocking
and rolling.
Yeah. So here, let's get
to it.
Food processing.
If you will grab the finished artichokes out of the oven.
Yes, I will.
It'll be on the left.
It's hot.
Ruben is such a good assistant.
Yes.
He's got the bestest hands.
So
Most chefs.
once again, the artichokes come out looking like that, quite tasty and delicious. And like I said,
That
they're
looks
great in
amazing.
salads. They're great.
Super.
So if you were sautéing green beans for dinner, at the very end, grab a handful of these and throw them in. They're nutty, and the roasting gives them a nuttiness that you don't get. Also, dehydrating with the roasting intensifies their flavors. And if you notice, that's a tendency of what we're doing here. We want all the flavors to be intense, but not a whole lot of them, because the more ingredients, the more muddled the recipe gets. And so this is simple and straightforward. So according to the recipe, we're going to add we're going to put the garlic, we're going to add
I think at this point we add the basil and chop it into the artichokes.
first the artichokes. Okay.
In your hand.
But you know what?
Thanks,
It's
sir.
okay that the cheese is in there.
Sorry.
I threw him off.
Yes,
I walked away with this ingredient.
we're going to blame Ruben.
One of the other things to what Greg was saying is when he worked with some of our students, he was working with our fourth grade classes at one specific school. And he had his own class that got to see him every month and all that kind of great stuff. And him explaining those techniques to the kids, it's a sweet spot right there. They're fourth graders. They want adults to like them, but they still are at a point where they're not too cool for school, and they're so one of these, but they are becoming independent. So they would take these techniques home, and then they would teach their parents. And their parents would come and say, how did you get my kid to eat a radish? How did you get my kid to eat an artichoke? I think we're all set on that now.
All right, here we go.
Perfect.
Action time.
We're getting there.
You want to go over there?
No, it's hot. We have power. We definitely have power. We're hot.
We're good.
Sometimes it doesn't sit on there the right way.
It looks like it's not on all the way.
Oh.
Here, yeah, you should.
What do they say on television? Never work with pets,
There we go.
children, or food processors.
There you go.
This is not my food processor.
Full disclosure.
It's mine. I should have given you a
Okay,
primer.
we're going to chop those up real quick. Now we're going to add the mascarpone and the rest of the ingredients, except for the
What are we chopping, Chef?
we're going to add the rest of the chopped ingredients. We're not going to add the shallot, the lemon juice, and the lemon peel until we fold.
We're going to hold off on the garlic, I believe, until the end,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And y'all have noticed he was hitting the button and taking that up and down again. That's called pulsing. And what that does is actually incorporates ingredients by chopping them rather than pureeing them. So it's a good start to the recipe to get the basil to really release a lot of the essential oils and a lot of flavors in there. And so now that he's adding the cheeses and all that other stuff, we can move into a full run on the food processor, which will turn it into a puree. And also, Greg, you maybe want to show him how to scrape down the sides to make sure everything's incorporated.
Yes. Let me do a quick pulse. I'm gonna add it.
Sorry, Greg.
No, Carlos has done this a lot.
How many
more.
chefs do we have in the kitchen right now?
Too many. More than one is always too many. That's beautiful.
Looks so
So we're
good.
gonna open it up. We're gonna scrape down the sides real good to make sure everything gets incorporated evenly. And once again, this is a dish that's served cold. It's great at football games, baseball viewings, things like that. Everybody tends to like it.
So
and
healthy.
It's healthy and it's vegetarian if you eat dairy.
It's also a great use for all those pantry staples you have that you might use only a little bit here and there. You actually get to bring a lot of those together. I'm always looking for more uses for vinegars, actually, to make sure I go through them. And a tip, if you do buy good vinegars, put them in your fridge. It'll keep them better longer.
Even unopened, like right when you come home from the
Pro
store.
tip.
Once you open
I think
it,
it's once
you
you
want
open
to
it,
put it in there, but never put it in like a hot place. Treat it like a wine, and then
Always
put it
kept
in your
mine in the
fridge after you
cabinet.
open it.
Wow.
Yeah, same thing with your good olive oil. If you're going to be using a good olive oil and you buy a nice bottle, keep it in your fridge. It'll help it go
Did you know
last
that?
longer.
No,
I didn't know that either.
olive oil does not last in the
And
Did you guys
all,
know that? Do you guys put your olive oil in the
It-
fridge?
It never lasts long enough to.
house. No, I go through bottles.
What kind of olive oil do you use, by the way?
I
What's your
get
favorite?
two types. I get either extra virgin olive oil. There's one from California I really love. It's just got a nice fruitiness to it. And then I'll get regular olive oil, not extra virgin, when I'm doing a high temperature application. Extra virgin olive oil has all these wonderful subtleties of flavor. So I really use those for finishing or for something like Greg's using here. And then I use the just regular olive oil for roasting or things like that. It's not a rule that you have to do that. It's just a personal preference
Yeah.
for me.
and extra virgin has all of the aromatics and the slow burn on the back of the mouth, and you want to use that for finishing.
Slow burn on the back
Yeah,
of
a
the
good
mouth.
Plus other oils,
Oh.
if you need something with a higher smoke point.
Yeah, a
right
good
now,
olive
you can do
oil
like a
should have
grapeseed or something.
a little pepper in the back of your throat
Yeah.
when you finish tasting it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And he called that grapeseed oil, which I love because it actually has similar health properties to olive oil. So it's great for high temp cooking.
Oh.
And all condiments that
Learning
I
so
buy,
much.
I take a marker and I write the month and the year on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because you'll open up your fridge and you'll go to use that sesame oil and you flip it over and it's 5 years old.
Yeah.
Rancid.
And that's when you say,
Yeah.
hey, Google,
Yeah.
add
That's what
sesame
happened
oil
to
to
me.
the shopping
What is
list.
this? What's the shelf
So
life?
Ruben is now going to finish this.
Mm.
He is going to add the lemon peel. He's going to fold all this together. The lemon peel, sprinkle it over. The shallots and the garlic. I'll grab the garlic real quick. Listen, when you're buying garlic in the grocery store and you're buying it whole, only buy garlic that has the root ball on the bottom of it.
Oh.
Yeah, if it doesn't have the root ball, it's from another country
Mm-hmm.
and not Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you're using good California grown garlic if possible.
So garlic from the USA is what
Preferably.
is
Yeah,
what you're trying
California,
to,
yes.
and it's intact with the root.
Yes,
And why is that?
because they're not using
Pesticides
things
or-
in it that
yeah.
for our consumption
Okay,
that they shouldn't be using.
Got
And we
it.
know that.
yeah,
Don't smash it.
good
Oh,
to know.
sorry.
Full.
I'm sorry.
I'm ruining the dish.
So I'm going to do a little plug here for
Yeah.
our bakery.
For Levin.
Yes, at Bistro Menil, the restaurant's almost completely gluten-free. And we did that about 5 years ago. And in my opinion, if a chef can make the recipe as good gluten-free, then he should be making it gluten-free. It's a little more effort,
Yeah.
but now with the technology here, there's measure for measure and cup for cup, which are flour substitutes. and you can find people to do it. So this is Levin Baking Company.
Mhm.
They're a local company. They're about to open a brick and mortar, but you can find these at the farmers market on East Side on Saturdays. Correct, right, Ruben?
Absolutely.
And these are olive oil crostini that are absolutely
They're insane.
gluten-free,
They're
which is nuts.
insane.
Yeah, they're delicious.
But I want to really go back to something what you said, Greg, because it's so interesting. You said if a chef or a restaurant can make it gluten-free, they should, but why? For health reasons, or for what is your personal theory on that?
I love when people own their celiac disease.
Yeah.
But I have so many customers asking for gluten-free options
Mhm.
that if you can make it gluten-free and nobody can tell,
Yeah.
that means everybody at the table is eating gluten-free, but it doesn't have to taste like it.
Yeah,
And-
you have no idea.
Right. So
Yeah,
why
I
do-
have no idea tasting this. When I took a
Right.
bite of this earlier, I couldn't believe that this
Now,
was,
do you
I
get
didn't believe
any
it.
actual flavor from gluten?
No, gluten gives you different properties. Structure.
Inflammatory
flavor.
properties, inflammatory properties.
Sure.
So if you're
That's what
going,
I'm saying,
if
but
you're
from
going,
a flavor standpoint.
yeah, if you're going out with the table before and somebody has celiac, it's not doesn't seem fair to penalize them.
Mhm.
Oh, we can't go there. There's nothing on the menu for me. Oh, we can't go there. There's nothing on the menu.
Yeah.
So why not make it so everybody can have everything,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you
Yeah.
have vegan options, you have vegetarian options. So we just went almost everything gluten
I
free.
love that.
It's amazing too. It's like when you have a cocktail party, and if there's somebody who doesn't drink, you don't want them to feel separated. So you do something that can be virgin or it can be regular. No one knows who's drinking except for by the end of the night. But that shared table experience is also so important to us here, and that's another thing we do with the children is we always sit down at the end and actually plate and everything and
Mm.
set the table. Everybody sits down, serves, waits to be served, and then everybody shares in the same experience. When you put up a wall between it because somebody can't have it or somebody's having a different thing, you lose that beautiful kind of moment at the end.
Community.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
think of the Italian culture. There, they have subsidies for people who have celiac because they have to eat in special restaurants, and the whole family wants to eat together. It's an
Wow.
amazing idea,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm so glad Greg mirrors that at his restaurant. It makes it really easy to take friends there and good days in the park.
Even
and wine.
desserts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And when they come and the dessert menu comes and they say, well, what can I have? They say, you can everything. You can have everything but that. And they're always like, what?
Wow.
I can have the blackberry cake. I can have this and that. It's just not that hard. I can have the cookie.
Yeah.
So it's complete. I would encourage you to refrigerate this before you serve it to your
Mhm.
friends.
Okay.
It'll be good in the fridge for at least a week. You'll know if it's gone bad. And once again, remember the ingredients, we cooked everything that was food. And so that means it'll last longer in the fridge.
Right.
So here is the
I don't-
finished.
Maybe we can go back and we'll just rewind it tonight. But I want to see the horrified look on Carlos's face. He's mashing the crap out of this artichoke.
My
It's like-
I
eyes
was
literally
worried.
Oh, yeah,
It's
no, I
very
could
blurry.
feel the
Yeah.
energy. I could feel the wave.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my cheeks got hot. It's like-
One of the most important things also is tasting it before you put it out. And I think there's some tasting spoons hidden in here for you, if not
I've already been
somewhere
tasting.
around there.
This is
But we
halfway
have
gone.
crostini.
They're Christine
Oh yeah,
right here.
grab
Yeah,
it.
the crostini.
We're dipping.
Yeah, make sure to taste it.
Let's
first.
dip.
So we're
Use
dipping.
a nice
We're
big
dipping.
spoon. Oh,
Let's
here it
dip.
is. Well,
Everybody's dipping.
any
Carlos?
spoon will do.
Dipping,
Thank
dipping,
you.
dipping. Here's
I'll do this.
Yeah,
one. Yes,
dipping.
excellent.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. All day, every
You
day.
know what really made this? The folding.
I know. It was amazing. You
get
did
the
an
lemon
amazing
peel?
job.
I get the lemon.
Get the lemon
Oh,
peel.
Absolutely.
So good.
So good.
It's light and fresh.
Unbelievable.
And I hope
Love
the people at home can hear us crunching on these crostini because they're really crunchy and delicious.
Mmm. Yummy, yummy.
No double dipping.
I grated the lemon.
Well, Greg, you have
Zest is important.
outdone yourself.
Can't have life without
Thank you.
zest.
Chef Carlos,
Thank you so
again,
much
you
for
have
having
outdone
me
yourself
on.
as well.
And thank you, Carlos, for getting me all prepped.
No,
Yeah.
thank
Most
you for
importantly-
coming.
Beautiful kitchen.
Thank you, Recipe for Success.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hope Farms. And
And all of this to pay tribute and respect and
To Peg Lee.
homage to Miss Peg Lee, which again, they are doing the ribbon cutting and the party tonight at 6:30 out of the farms. There's a ton of things that you can participate in at Hope Farms, like Carlos was talking about, from adult cooking classes, kids cooking classes. They sell vegetables by the box. You guys
On
have
Saturdays, yes.
Saturdays, you guys have maybe 30 different kinds of tomatoes that you grow. I know we've
During some parts. Of the
We've
year.
done a tomato episode here. You guys can find all our past episodes of Foodies and Friends on the Fox 26 YouTube channel. Ruben, any final thoughts?
This is delicious. That is my final thought. No, just thanks for everybody for being here.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Gracie and her staff. I mean, this is a beautiful homage to
Wonderful
Peg
tribute.
and all of the kids that are going to come through here. They're going to be able to learn, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
That's what it's all about.
So it's good time to be in Houston.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks to you guys.
Yes,
For
of
having us.
course.
Bistro Menil, come check them out. All right, that does it for me and Katie, guys. Next week, another smoking hot episode of Foodies and Friends at 3:00. We'll see you then. Peace.
See you guys.
Bye.
I want some more. I need some more.